Good afternoon and welcome to the Boise Metro Chamber's CEO Speaker Series. I am Charlene Marr, President and CEO of Blue Cross of Idaho and Chair of the Boise Metro Chamber of Commerce. This is the Chamber's second virtual CEO Speaker Series this year and our 100th virtual event during this pandemic. This event featuring Vivek Sankaran was scheduled to happen mid-March, but due to the COVID, we had to postpone. We appreciate Vivek taking time out of his busy schedule to be with us here today. But before we hear from Vivek, I'd like to thank our sponsors for this event. Our presenting sponsor is Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Our co-sponsor is Albertsons. Our other sponsors include Perkins Coie, United Heritage Insurance, Blue Cross of Idaho, Idaho Business Review, and Regents Blue Shield of Idaho. Finally, our contributing sponsors are Boise State University, St. Luke's Health System, First Interstate Bank, Idaho Housing and Finance Association, Hawley Troxel, Empire Title, Deloitte, Delta Dental, and Blue Cross of Idaho. Thank you all for your continued support. Over this last year, I am proud of the work the Chamber has done to continue supporting our businesses across our community, especially in the face of unprecedented challenges. Thank you all for your support. I would now like to introduce Aaron Dykes, Senior Vice President and Resident Director at Bank of America, who will introduce our keynote speaker, Vivek. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlene. And thank you to the rest of the Boise Metro Chamber team for this great partnership to deliver another CEO Speaker Series presentation and your 100th virtual event this year. Congratulations. I'm Aaron Dykes, Resident Director for the Boise Merrill Lynch team and a member of the Bank of America Idaho leadership team, helping to deliver one company for our clients, our communities, and our employees. For more than 230 years, Bank of America has played a critical role in developing the U.S. and the global economy. We're here to help tackle what matters most to the people and the communities we serve by listening to their needs and providing the guidance and the resources that can help them achieve and do more. We're honored to partner with the Boise Metro Chamber, who continues to promote community vitality and the economic prosperity of our region. It's my pleasure today to introduce you to today's speaker, Vivek Sankaran. Vivek was named President and CEO of Albertsons Companies in April of 2019. Vivek most recently served as CEO of PepsiCo Foods North America, and prior to that, he served as the company's President and Chief Operating Officer, a position that he was named to in 2016. Over the last 3 years, he's led Frito-Lay to industry-leading growth by remaining focused on innovation, technology, and execution. Over his 10-year career at PepsiCo, in addition to leading Frito-Lay, Vivek also served as the Chief Commercial Officer for Pepsi North America, Chief Customer Officer for Frito-Lay, and as the Senior Vice President of Strategy for PepsiCo. He doesn't take a lot of free time. Before joining PepsiCo in 2009, Vivek was a partner at McKinsey & Company, where he served various Fortune 100 companies, bringing a strong focus on strategy and operations. He co-led the firm's North American purchasing and supply management practice and was on the leadership team of the North American retail practice. Vivek has an MBA from the University of Michigan, a master's degree in manufacturing from Georgia Institute of Technology, and a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from the Indian Institute of Technology in Chennai. Vivek, we appreciate you joining us today and look forward to hearing your perspective and your insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Such a delight to be with you. I'm going to start with a video so you get a quick glimpse of the Albertsons Companies, and I look forward to sharing some messages and thoughts with you. Matt, can you play the video, please?
How do we make every day a better day?
It starts with one employee.
One store.
One community.
From one friendly associate to another. From one store to our customers.
From our customers to the ones they love.
Helping communities thrive.
Supporting local.
Creating jobs.
Utilizing innovation that will better serve our cities.
With friendly people and the freshest product.
From the neighborhood to the nation.
Locally great, nationally strong.
That's my impact.
That's our impact. That's the impact we have. That's our foundation.
We have deep roots.
And a fresh, exciting approach.
We make it easy for our customers to shop.
No matter how they shop.
Our compassion is for our customers.
And for each other.
Bringing us together.
And setting us apart.
Investing in our future.
Continually striving to create exceptional products and a healthier planet.
Providing unparalleled expertise and specialty offerings.
Achieving efficient and convenient operations.
Building lasting customer relationships.
Making a meaningful difference in the places we live.
Making every day better for our customers.
Better for our people.
Better for our communities.
Better for our future.
We are Albertsons Companies.
Good afternoon again, everyone. It's great to be here. You know, as Charlene said, I was supposed to be in person in March and address all of you, and I hope we can do that again soon. And I've got to tell you a small story. So back in February, the last week of February, I was in New York, and a few of us from the team were in New York, and we were riding in cars together, meeting with bankers and investors. I remember that Friday, the last week in February, I was at a bar and having a drink, saying cheers, and then I noticed that our sales were starting to go up on that Friday. It was the very last Friday in February. And usually towards the end of the month, sales go down, not up, right? Because people have less money, less disposable income. And it was a really odd phenomenon. Of course, the stock market was going down. You heard about this thing called COVID. And there were many different points of view, including people saying, hey, yeah, it's going to go away. It'll be gone in a few months. I don't know why we're all so worried about it. And as you know, in March, the first week of March, the world changed all around us. The shelves were empty. People were shopping. People were lining up, getting whatever they could. And that was a very different time. And so we decided early in March to cancel this. And I appreciate all of you doing that. And I appreciate you giving me a chance to talk about Albertsons and the industry in general. So the March happened, and you all know what was curious. Yes, people bought a lot of food and stocked their pantries, and everybody bought a lot of paper, especially toilet paper. And I think people still have what I call T, toilet paper trauma. We still sell a lot of toilet paper, and I think everybody goes in there trying to pick up just a little more. But things have settled. We're all in a good place. So I was wondering what I could talk to you about and why you'd want to listen to me. And I thought I'd do a couple of things. One, tell you a little bit about the Albertsons Companies. Second, tell you a little bit about the industry. We're going through a massive amount of change in our industry. And many of you are in each of your industries. But I'll characterize what's happening for us. And then I thought I'll share with you how our wonderful people in our company have navigated this pandemic to make sure that you're taken care of. So let me start a little bit with the Albertsons Companies. And if you're in Boise, the store on 16th and State is our first store, Store 101. And that's where this company began. But to characterize it for you today, we are a Fortune 54 company. We have 20 banners across 34 states, and you saw some of that in the video, including the District of Columbia. We have 2,252 retail stores, that location was opened 81 years ago. But some of our locations, like in the Shaw's, and is a banner, one of our banners in Boston, has been around for 160 years, and so we're deeply local and deeply connected. We have great stores, but we also have delivery and drive up and go. Consumers want to shop differently today, and I'll tell you about that. Distribution centers and plants across the country. We have 300,000 associates. Fabulous. The best thing about us is the associates who try their best to take care of you every time you need things from us. And just some interesting facts. 40,000 of them have been with us for more than 20 years, and nearly 60,000 of them for more than 15 years. And 41,000 of them are teenagers, which is great, and 5,000 are over the age of 70, including 26 of our associates are over the age of 90, and we're delighted to have all of them. We have 120,000 people of color, and 6,100 of them work in the state of Idaho, right here.
Vivek, really quick, we are having a small technical glitch in that we've lost your sound. And so if we can't hear you at this moment in time. Oh, wild. Vivek, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
We had a really small technical glitch there, and we lost your sound for a couple minutes. So I'm sorry to intervene, but I think we got your sound back. And just so you know where we were, we briefly lost your sound as you finished some of the demographics about the diversity of the organization.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. I'll get back to the next piece. All right. Hello, everybody. I'm back. I think you lost me when I was talking about the demographics of the organization, the number of teenagers. I think I mentioned 26 people working for us are over the age of 90. I said we love all of them. We love that diversity. 120,000 people are people of color in our company. And it's that front line that makes a difference. That gives you a glimpse for who Albertsons is. I was going to talk to you about a couple of other things, give you a sense for the industry and what's happening there. On the surface, the industry looks like it did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but there's tremendous amount of change and a tremendous amount of dislocation happening. So I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about the industry, and then I'll talk to you about how the pandemic, what we've done over the last 11 months to navigate the pandemic. So if you think about, if you step back, in America, we are overstored in grocery. So we have more stores per capita in America than anywhere in the world, more square footage assigned to grocery or grocery square footage than anywhere in the world. When you have that in any industry, you have massive competition, fierce competition. And that's what you see in America. And the nature of competition is changing. So for the last several decades, the competition was primarily around building formats, new stores, different types of stores, that first we said it was grocery stores, which have been around for a long time, people like us. Then came the mass merchants, the big box retailers. Then came the dollar channel, then the discounters. And in each one of these stages, people have projected that the grocery industry will die. It hasn't. It has thrived. But all of us in all of these different formats were built with the mindset that we think we have a different mousetrap to bring you into the store. And when you come into that store, we're going to kind of guide you on how we want you to shop. That was the mantra. You, over the last few years, have turned that on its head. What you've told us is that you want to shop the way you want to shop, where you want to shop, when you want to shop. And in fact, you've challenged us that you want us to reconfigure our assets so that we can serve you that way. And that's a big change in our business and a big change in the industry. And you're seeing all of us trying to pivot with e-commerce, delivery, pickup, and all of these capabilities so that we can find ways to serve you better. Which is why you see, if you just take Boise, you see stores like the one on State, which is more traditional. Then you go to our store on Broadway. It's about experiences. And then you have across the footprint pickup and delivery so that we can bring you convenience. And that's the way the industry is changing. I'll close with what happened over the last several months during the pandemic. I cannot overstate how thankful we are for our front line, 300,000 people across our stores, distribution centers, manufacturing plants, who have just worked incredibly hard in this environment to make sure that they can keep themselves safe, keep our customers safe, and make sure they can meet this big surge in demand that we've had for the last several months. I will tell you that it's felt like we've been in a sprint, right? It's been a sprint and an obstacle course at the same time. And we've done that, and we've done that with making sure that your safety and keeping you supplied was paramount. And I'm delighted to say that this company that started here in Boise on 16th and State is winning in the marketplace. You know, the Albertsons Companies and Idaho Company is winning across all of the different marketplaces in America. We're proud of it. We're also proud of the other thing I'm so proud of is the difference we made in the communities that we operate in. We always believe that we are a large company, but we really are in some ways contributors and stewards of the communities that we operate in. It is very important to us to make a difference to the communities that we operate in. We provided very early in this pandemic, we donated $53 million in cash. That we called it the Nourishing Neighbors campaign to 2,200 neighborhoods to make sure that people don't go hungry. We elevated our focus. As you saw earlier in the year, there was a lot of angst and unrest around racial justice, around diversity. We've elevated our focus on diversity, it's become a central underpinning of my priorities and our management team's priorities. We have a long way to go, but we are never going to stop. And we also elevated our focus on ensuring more racial justice in the communities that we operate, contributing to it both in cash and kind. And I want to close with this. We are all going through a very difficult period with many different opinions on many things. But I want to remind you that at the core, we are great people here in America. And I'll give you one simple fact. Our customers, through our registers, since the start of this pandemic, have donated $57 million to give back to the communities that we operate in. It's just incredible, right? When it comes to finding ways to do good for each other, we've been incredible. Thank you for listening to me. I'll stay on and take some questions. Deeply appreciate you sparing the time to listen to me and hear about the Albertsons Companies. You.
Vivek, thank you so much for joining us today, and we apologize for the technical issues. It is our 100th virtual broadcast, so you would think that we have it right by now, but every so often. We had a lot of people that signed up for this event and people that pre-submitted questions that they'd like to really hear from you. One of which was, you spoke to this a little bit, but what are the short-term and long-term goals that Albertson has to become more equitable?
Yeah, Matt, it's an extremely important issue in terms of, I like the way you put it, right? Equitable along every different dimension. And we call it our D&I program. And let me start and it starts at the top. So my team of my direct reports, 3 are women. We have another man who's an Asian Indian, and we have 2 white men. Okay, and our general counsel is an African-American woman. So we're a diverse team. It starts right at the top. I mentioned to you that we have in our overall 120,000 people of color, but if you go into our stores and our frontline, it's an even stronger representation. It's close to 50-50. And like most companies in America, and certainly in our sector, the consumer sector of retail, our challenge has always been getting more representation in the middle management and in of both gender representation and minority representation in the middle management and going into the senior ranks. And that's what we're putting a lot of our energy into. We're putting a lot of energy into creating the right environment, the right deep understanding of what diversity and inclusion really means, putting it into our processes when we come into recruiting, into different, into evaluating for people, the slate for the right kinds of roles. So a lot of energy into the things that make a difference to get people into the middle management and above so that we get the fair representation across. And it'll take a few years to build that pipeline, and we're going to stay focused on that.
That's exciting. And so you've been there a little over a year. We're going to talk about some of the amazing things that you've taken the company through. But one question that was asked by our members is, what, if any, cultural changes have you made in this enormous organization since you've arrived?
Oh, Matt, the first thing is I want to point out that, I'm a lucky guy. I've inherited an amazing company and an amazing culture. It's a culture and these are things that are the hardest things to do. A culture that is oriented towards serving customers, trying to do their best in the store every day. A culture that drives for performance, wants to win, so that we can win and do more for our customers. So those are things that were already in place. I think of us as, there are people who get to work in our company at 2 a.m. Right there, if you, I forget the name, by the lake, the Lake Hazel store. the bakery team gets in there at 2 a.m. to make you your donuts. So we're a culture that I think about as we roll up our sleeves and get it done. What have I done? One is that we've brought a lot of technology into our company. In today's world, it's almost impossible to do anything without also thinking about it as, can you do it with using technology? Technology can make a human even better at what they do. So we've made us more technophiles, if I can say that, right? So that we bring a lot of that in there. We are a great company in many different markets, but we're also trying to do things together. We call it being locally great and nationally strong. You don't have to give up one for the other. So we're trying to make sure that we can build things across. And then we're trying to continue to elevate being customer focused. We want to make sure we know where you want to go, so we can get there and be ready there and give you choices that others may not be able to.
The being locally great and nationally strong rings true with me. In 1993, when I moved from Colorado to Idaho for college, the only common thing was an Albertsons. So that was the place that I knew when I came to Pocatello, Idaho. And so, you know, this year has been, it'll go down in history as one of the most tumultuous years in our U.S. history, especially with COVID, a really long election process. And you took Albertsons public during that time. What was that like, and how has that gone so far?
You're so right, Matt. It's 14 days to Christmas and 20 days to 2021, right? That's great. We should all get past this year. Look, yes, I forgot to mention that, right? Even during this pandemic, while doing everything we were doing, trying to figure it out, frankly, to keep supply safe, people safe, and keep us supplied in the early days, we also stepped back and went public. And the reason we went public was we thought the markets were actually right for somebody like us and for the stage we were in the development of this company. From the day-to-day of what we do to serve our customers, nothing's changed. We continue to do, and that'll be our central focus. We'll continue to invest to make the company stronger, and we'll do that. We're delighted that we have a new pool of investors in our company, right? They believe in us, and they see the potential in us. We are in the early innings of a transformation, and so we have so much more upside, despite the fact that we're winning in the marketplace. What's changed is, as a CEO, I spend more time with investors. I spend more time in a public-facing role, as I should, to make sure that people feel not only excited about our company, but also comfortable, if you're an investor, that we're doing the right things, and as customers, that we're doing the right things.
You know, we're so lucky to have Albertsons as one of our flagship corporations in Boise, and having a Boise-based company like Albertsons Companies here. From your perspective, what does our region provide to national companies like Albertsons Companies and other? What can we provide to the nation as our economy continues to grow?
Matt, I used to visit Boise a couple of times a year when I was at PepsiCo, because Albertsons was an important customer. And now I have moved here, and I appreciate a few things that you don't tend to appreciate outside. And so I think the first challenge for us is to market Boise more broadly, and some of the specialness of Boise. So what is that specialness? You know what we have? We have people with young kids, and if you have any excitement for the outdoors, this is just an incredible place, right? And we have people coming in, and it's important because you have people with young children at the stage in their careers where they want to come into a place, and they want to have options. If they can come to a place where you have options. If one doesn't work out, you can continue to find other things. And I think we're just starting to get to that place. So I'm delighted about the number of, first we have some strong companies here, and we're all bringing people in with technical backgrounds, with specialized skills in many different areas. And we have great luck bringing people like that. Now, the pandemic has obviously curtailed a lot of that movement, but all of that will come back. It's a great place to raise a family. It's a great place to enjoy the outdoors. And it's got a great pool of talent and a good pool of companies to build from to make it even more attractive.
Speaking of it being a Boise-based company, we're also lucky to have two amazing flagship stores in the Broadway store and the Meridian.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, they are models for the entire grocery industry. Is there anything that you're doing in those two stores that you see expanding across the entire flags and brand names?
Absolutely. So Matt, the way I think of those stores, we built those two stores with real intent. The intent being we wanted to really maximize what an experience can be for a customer. And I think of shopping this way, at least when you shop in the store. There's a portion of the store where all of us are going slow. We are enjoying what we see. We're picking it up. I'm going more to the pre-pandemic days. We pick it up, we smell it, we walk around, you smell something being cooked. That's the experience side of the store. You'll notice that in these stores in Broadway and the one in Eagle, that's much larger, right? And you watch people, they enjoy it, they browse it, they spend more time there. And then there's the store part, that's the shelves. And that's the chore. All of us, when we get into those shelves, we've got a list, we want to get through it. We get frustrated when we can't find it and we want to have to walk back and forth. And that's the chore. And then there's the checkout area where it's either going to be great because the checkout was terrific. They said hi and they packed it quickly, or you never remember it because it was also that great. And so our intent was to maximize that experience side in that store. And so if you go to the bakery or you go to the food section, you'll find there's a number of different things we've learned about the foods that we take elsewhere. And we've also brought in things from other places into that store. And that's part of the magic of being locally great and nationally strong. You're finding germinating ideas anywhere and you're taking them everywhere else because we are really one company.
You've been at Albertsons Companies for roughly 20 months. And this question is kind of asking you to make a comparison. What was the first 10 months that you were with the company? How much different has the last 10 months? And I think a lot of that is obvious with COVID. But I think the extension of that is, what have you learned about yourself and your customers and your team as you've transitioned these two kind of bookend 10-month periods?
Matt, this proved something to me, this last 10-month period. I've always believed. By the way, I grew up in India. I tell people a story that I'm a very lucky guy because I always had a lot of lucky things that have happened to me throughout my life. Even getting to the Albertsons Companies was luck. And I also believe that as a leader, you know things, but you don't know everything. And the people who are closest to the front line know more than you about what needs to happen then and there. And that was proved to me in the last 10 months. So the first 10 months was about getting us together as leaders across the company and aligning on priorities, making sure we're making the right investments, debates, so that we can all get comfortable with those priorities. That was the first 10 months. And then the pandemic hit, right? And so who's that who said, you have a strategy till you get punched in the face? That's what it felt like. And the pandemic hit us, and then we had to go into a different gear. And I'm so thankful for the incredible frontline and the leaders that we have locally, because I will tell you that we didn't direct from Boise, Idaho. The only things that we ensured people had was everything they needed to be safe, like equipment, cleaning protocols. So we learned about all of that and communicated that and mandated those things around safety. And we worked as much as we could on supply from Boise, Idaho. But what I learned that in a crisis, you need a team that's closest to the action that can make great decisions. And you've got to let them do it. And that's exactly what happened. And what I've learned about from that is, if that's the right way to do it in a crisis, why couldn't we do more of that? Why couldn't we do make decisions faster? Why wouldn't we try something, and if it fails, kill it and move on to the next great idea? My belief is that it would be a shame if coming out of this crisis, all of us as business leaders didn't step back and learn a different management approach.
You know, I was previously a mountain guide, and what we used to tell our clients was we have to work really, really hard to benefit from the lucky opportunities that will get us to the summit. So there is this luck piece, but there's so much hard work that goes into it. And that's the last question I have here is really about how much significant change has been brought this year. You know, the dinner parties and the lunches with VIPs are no longer happening. And in many cases, we may be working with somebody digitally who we've never actually met in person. And if you had a crystal ball and we're looking into a future, do you see this becoming a permanent revolution in the way that we do business? Or do you think as COVID relaxes and we get through the pandemic and we introduce vaccines that we'll go back to the old way? What's your view of the future?
Yeah, Matt, great question. I think about it a lot, and I certainly don't have a crystal ball on it. But I think of the world as what's more likely and what's less likely. First, I'll tell you that I don't think we'd all love to go back to have 2019 and the way we lived in 2019, but that is no magical year that we all achieve perfection in how we live. So I think we'll come out of this, and actually we've learned some things that I think we'll sustain. What's an example of that we see in our business? Eating more at home. I think all of you, many of you on the call, especially those of you who used to travel a lot for a living, are probably enjoying a few more meals with family at home. And you're probably stepping back and going, that's nice, actually, that's pretty nice. And so this eating at home, first when you do something for 6 weeks, you may spring back to what it was. I want to remind you, we're in our 11th month of doing something different, right? So new habits get ingrained. The second, that's one. So more likely that you're going to have habits that are about eating a little more at home. More likely that we're going to have habits where people say, you know what, I should place my order on the phone. It works pretty well, and so more likely that'll stick. The second thing that we see that a lot of us talk about is this notion of, as you think about these big office buildings, especially in places where you have these high rises, do you really imagine that everybody there will come back and go into that high rise, much like we did from 8 to 5, ride the train and do all those long commutes? Or would we all say, you know what, we've had this, maybe this would have been fun. This would have been a lot of fun to be in person, but we do so many meetings on virtually these days. And that might mean staying home a little longer. And if staying home maybe one extra day a week, that's more meals at home. So I think from our business standpoint, we see that being most sticky behavior. But that said, I can't wait for the day when I can go out and say cheers and hang out and give people a hug and shake hands.
I'm in the same boat. That's a great forward vision. One last question. Do you have anything that you see on the horizon for Albertsons and the companies that you haven't mentioned here that you feel excited about and that you're ready to share with the public?
Yeah, I'm not ready to share with the public. Certainly not in this forum. But momentum is a beautiful thing. Momentum is a wonderful thing. I mean, if you've all been on a winning team, you know what winning tastes like. We are tasting it. And so we're excited. I know everybody we are 300,000 excited people that we've tasted winning, and we're going to do everything we can to keep winning.
Well, Vivek, we are honored to have you here and to hear from you today. The Boise Metro Chamber is just so proud to have the Albertsons Companies as such a great supporter of the chamber and all of the work that you do. And we, before we sign off, I just want to thank our sponsors one more time, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. We're so thankful that you've supported the CEO Speaker Series. Albertsons, of course, as a co-sponsor. Perkins Coie, United Heritage Insurance, Blue Cross of Idaho, Idaho Business Review, Regents Blue Shield of Idaho, and all of our other co-sponsors. We are lucky to have your involvement in the business community. And Vivek, thank you for a great presentation. Thank you for the conversation. And I hope we have an opportunity to meet each other in person soon.
Thank you, Matt. And thank you all. Safe holidays. Happy holidays.